Alright, it's a well-fought match, gentlemen. It's a well-fought match indeed. Alright, I'm going to sit down here now at the moment, and I'll go over my general assessment of the clan battle while I'm sitting here waiting for my post results from Trials Online, and I'm currently responding with a potential competitor that I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I can try to build a team with on Destiny 2 so I can stop this shit show. Okay, so to review the assessment of the clan battle here, let me go back to the beginning as to where this clan battle arrangement was actually set to in a time earlier back in January of 2020. I can't remember exactly how far back that was in terms of the date, but I know it was early January 2020, so I want to say probably either the first or second week, somewhere around there. So I was given a proposal of a clan battle at first that I had declined for numerous reasons. Well, the people of that chat, that was myself, AcWGrimlock, or Nova as they call him now, and a snooping Lord Megatron 187. He's not even a part of the clan battling scene anymore, he's just there. But anyway, I declined that clan battle initially for numerous reasons, starting with the shift of personal priority that select community individuals seem to be oblivious of unless they're directly tied to me in my dealings, or it affects them somehow. It's the only time you ever seem to really give a damn. I made it clear originally that I wasn't going out of my way yet again for another generation of TAC players and another administration that obviously didn't or don't want to play for my team or my tag, rather, and would sooner just join another group the first chance they got to bandwagon winning teams over earning real victories in self-management and self-improvements. It's the same song and dance of a dead logic that I preached for years that only seem to be heard after some idiot seems to get what they want. It never seems to change said important observation to have different players feel better about playing, knowing that there's an attempt at a balance, rather than just being no balance, or the weak, quote-unquote, or the less motivated players, or the seemingly unskilled that are dying off from the player base, or just don't want to play anymore, period, because it's the same repetitious shit. Or better yet, same said players or similar players only wanting to play for winning teams because their shady, sneaky, weak asses can't compete any other fucking way. Like, think about it. It took me a while to think about it, but then I finally decided to settle on that a ways back when I left the community initially. So, rather than tolerate other people's drama to play for another hollow CB that my team either comes close to winning and somehow players don't get the missing link, or they don't understand how to get better when it's right there, or they can't make it to the matches due to factors out of one's control naturally, or else they may inadvertently or unknowingly create the missing link through self-importance, ego, vanity, obliviousness, and many other different emotional detachments. I decided to just let it go. I'd take my ambitions with TAC to a different community, expand TAC outward to a bigger prospect with the better results on newer platforms compared to the last 4 years to the one. The team kept degrading each year, I felt, to where only the core TAC players can ever actually be available to play, and even then availability is highly compromised or varying when those moments come because of life factors. And then, okay, it's like a build-up to nothing. So why keep going through the struggle of just going through this over and over and over again when I keep losing more than I'm gaining? And I decided already to just move on to different platforms with bigger gain where my own personal talents can be appreciated by other competitive communities. So far there's only one of many on the newer PS4 journeys where that holds potential truth, and the rest is just attempts that leave much disappointment to a lot of conceitedness or general varying elitism. Honestly, TACT is losing more than it's gaining with the expansion, as less people are cooperative or less people are willing to be assertive or judacious in wanting to do cooperative team-based activities. Those that I do get on board, they don't stay for very long, and then they go about doing whatever the fuck they want to do. It creates more trial and error, arguments, unnecessary confrontations, blah 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 blah. People keep doing what the hell they want to do for themselves and not worrying about the sake of the team. irritating constantly with a lot of hollow support and getting anywhere, yes, but I felt that a lot of this in these attempts to do newer things and do something different in order to try to be happy was a lot better than any of the past shit that's happened so far. In response to the clan battle proposal, I already knew the song and dance of the responsibilities that go with setting up these arrangements on Fall of Cybertron, and I still refused to join this lifestyle, or return to this lifestyle fully, I should say. To return to it is what I mean to say. There's more important issues having been stacked up elsewhere to juggle that supersede having to find players wanting to play, not hearing any stupid-ass excuses why you won't play or why you can't play. Barring life factors, I understand life comes first, but I don't want to hear any other side excuses. Or even why you won't play or work outside of your comfort zone to learn different crap, to try newer things so you don't keep being an easy target, or you keep being picked off so much because you want to be so fucking hard-headed or difficult about very simple shit. Or it becomes difficult to do simple shit, period. Currently juggling headaches were enough to deal with right now between 3 different consistent competitive communities and the jackasses there to deal with right now, rather than bring back on board the ideology of one past stressful headache that honestly drove me away from loving the competitive art of clan battling. And so as UnK's clan, which was like maybe 8 or 10 people, wanted to give me this particular proposition from a clan to a respective clan leader of time, I decided to go ahead and give Unknown Nation an ultimatum. And so, clearly, either people do or do not see the juggling act of time, activity, interaction between people and platform in order to be relevant for myself. So, logically, between a continual division of time and interest, said time to recreate an ideal full team in which to do a clan battle is highly non-existent, if not non-existent, period. So I gave Nova and Nebula and Prime this ultimatum of finding me a competent, cooperative batch of willing players. No bullshit, no drama, no one-trick ponies. Just provide me a steady pool of players that are wanting to try out for TACT, in addition to whoever it is I may already have that's still around, Hotshot, Blaze, Server maybe, if they're not busy, however the results may be. Give me a team to work with for change that does want to try out for TACT, that can work with the other people that are here, and can be reasonable fighters. I don't want any bullshit. I'd had enough of it from this community for years. When you do that, then I'll present a proper TACT battle as I've always done in past years as the leader of TACT. My message was heard. UnK Nation made their next play as I resumed my continued activities on PS4 competitive areas, in wake of then creating my own next moves. So here's what happened next. Over the course of February 2020, this was about a little into a month later, almost a month later, the community Discord for Transformers, War for Cybertron, Dark of the Moon, Fall of Cybertron Discord, all of it's all one and the same. The Discord seemed to light up frequently between players joining to contribute to game night, as well as a hollow recruitment channel for structurally building a team. Yeah, I know, how convenient. Before familiar faces in the community resurfaced, alongside a lot of unknown faces in a series of events. Unknown as in people I don't know, not unknown as in people that are part of their group. Originally, a lot of unseen faces before now that have joined the community originally for games also seem to DM me about wanting to join TACT. None of these bitches I even know. In that sense that this week happened, my DM went off like numerous times when I'm trying to sit here and do my business in Dragon Ball FighterZ, in Destiny, or on Xenoverse 2. God damn it. Anyway, like I was saying, in fuck. People joining the Discord in the wrong sense to mainly people who join for the main games that are joining also for TACT. I don't like that shit. In the wrong sense initially, as players that were joining Discord just wanted to join TACT right away, or rather were told to, not even knowing what the hell it is. This is not needed. Here's why this was. The purpose of the fall of Cybertron Discord was to gradually restore the casual player base with those simply wanting to play. They are needed for the gameplay's continued survivability and playability. The casual player. The casual player is the key to everything on a game. That's the whole point on why there can even be a competitive basis because of the casual people. In continual interaction with the Transformers online community, as players will meet me, other people, or else I'll meet them, a process of sorting can then go through to sort out the casual player from a possibly budding competitive player. Easy. I'm not going to sit here and meet a lot of newer players all the time that just want to join on board TACT just because somebody told them to as soon as they join the server. Hey, join TACT. Hey, join TACT. Hey, it's good to see you, but do you also want to try and join this clan called TACT? Don't do that dumb shit. I'm not going to teach other players here how to survive, or how to aim properly, or how to coordinate with teammates. Fuck them. I'm sorry, but I'd like to think a player whom is competitive some or is about to join onto a competitive plateau, the competitive plateau being different from the casual playing plateau of FoC. I would like to think that a player going into that area has some of an idea about these elements going into that environment, even though there's likely a good chance I'm proven wrong, because that's the way it seemed to be in a lot of the past encounters. So, hey, facts is facts. I don't want to assume, but at the same time, I have to be more practical about the target demographic that's generally seen on the Transformer video games. Yes, there are a lot of smart kids and smart teens, but at the same time, there are not a lot of competitively adept or competitively seeking or competitively driven kids and teens. I have nothing against the casual player. The community needs the presence, but I'm not recruiting you. I'm done doing that shit. That was my mistake I kept making for years. In select players of the past, I sought to bring on board as team players for a competitive base gameplay to continue TACT's survivability and endured expansion process. Yet, I could never understand why there was always an issue with self-motivation and self-improvement, so there's less frustration next time. Like, through the latter half of February, a month later, change did happen, it would seem, that a team could be created, or that was willing to work towards TACT's restoration for this competitive rendezvous. And it was looking more like this could happen as time had passed. And so I thought to myself, alright then. I can clearly see that other players out there, other willing players, willing to see this through and that are willing to help and that want to help, that are competitively driven for a means, a positive means. They're out there looking forward to this. They want this to happen in favor for TACT. A few want this in favor for UnK, despite UnK's initial proposition. People want to make time for this to work in favor of an activity they really want to happen without pending or probable error that is found on probable cause. This is going to compromise current consistency and stability between mounting affairs and now shifting tides of work, because it's just too much to do. But at the same time, the key to this system is priority in what's important at this time to try to see through on, not what's important overall. That's why it's a tug of war constantly between everything. That's the hard part in a juggle like this, when to focus on the correct subject. So, alright, here's the next step. Alright, I know I gotta literally make time I don't actually have, and I gotta cut other people short in Rainbow Six Siege, Dragon Ball Z, Destiny, all that dealing that I'm doing for myself. I want to set aside roughly 1 hour to dust off some strategies I wrote out long ago from clan battles previously fought by TACT in earlier times in my earlier administrations. My oldest tactics I felt were more effective than the continually edited ones over time that varied with each specific person or player and how they played. The problem there is that the reason why these strategies never worked is because they weren't effective due to players participating that never stayed training to fully fill out the roles, or else do the same thing repeatedly that couldn't seriously substitute that role needed. It needed to be that. It couldn't be anything else as a substitute just because you couldn't do it. All subjects in question are relevant to my own personal progressions. At this stage, tact was no longer in the picture, or would no longer need to be in the picture fully in my own personal dealings. As, well, for those that know me, in 2020 I needed to turn the focus on me. So, returning back to here, I will turn the focus to all of us. And so, making time to go back there, I went on ahead and do just that. I decided to go ahead and clear out my schedule for at least 1 hour each week in order to see to my training, in order to try to relearn the game, break the rust somewhat in full, that way I won't have any of those wonky games where I can't play straight, and slowly just get back into the jam. So we fast forward to the date in question of the rendezvous, which was around early mid-Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon about. I want to say it was closer to Sunday morning, so only select people really could have been there at that time. Everything else had to be worked around as time progressed. This was a weekend, so it was a lot easier to settle into it, I believe. It wasn't as hectic, and I already had some things already pre-planned. And relearning a lot of the things with a lot of friends, it honestly wasn't as stressful. I went on ahead and took a lot of key points just in case I would need to take particular roles, so I decided to go on ahead and dust off my medic and or possible Titan play just in case. Considering the nature of the enemy we're going up against, I would not need to know Scout or relearn Scout at this time. That would be a useless muscle memory relearning. Medic would probably be the key case in point here, because I get the feeling, or I got the feeling, that I would likely need to have that role just in case it would go back into the habit of people picking everything else but a medic. So I'm just going to save myself the trouble and do the medic role, or have it down so if I need to do it, then I can just fall right into the jam of medic. I know the medic flight patterns again. I know how to play scientist more accurately. I won't relearn Destroyer. I didn't take the time to relearn Destroyer. That was also useless, because I know there's going to be other people that want to try and take up that role. So, just let them have it. I know I'm known as a Destroyer player, mostly. I can do all the classes, but I'm known as a Destroyer player, but I passed that torch off to somebody else. The rest of the team's got it. They don't need me for that. I need to stick to my role, which is to support as best as I am able to. I can also do that just as competently. After all, I've had some of the best medics cross T.A.C.T's path once upon a time, so I was able to pick up on something. Going into the clan battle itself, I initially was just going to release the footage as is, with the conquest footage on my end in raw footage and or edited footage, because there was a compromised process in how conquest session the footage was uploaded. Nova was able to record all the battles on his end, so if there is problems with the viewing on Conquest side, you can also check his viewing side of it also. He was able to record all 3 sessions of the clan battle just like I recorded it on mine. He probably already has it out before this session is out, along with his pre-recorded aftermath session, in order to do a systematic analysis of the clan battle. But that's all well and fine. If you put it out first, that's good, so you already have an idea of everything that's stated before it's actually stated or shown on my end. You already know. The footage on Conquest was compromised or being partially blocked, or why it was unclear on my end. I don't know why. I gotta explain that later. But anyway, I was just going to upload the footage initially as it was and then walk away from it and not really upload this aftermath segment of it, because I didn't feel like I had the time to do it. But then I realized, okay, that's really half-assed to put out content of something important as a clan battle rendezvous and not have a general idea about how it happened or how events transpired worth knowing for the common listener or the communal member, any communal member, or any advocates of the WFC, Dark of the Moon, FoC community as such. And my work says something about myself. As cluttered as my affairs are right now between communities and a massive lack of help in managing all this shit, I realize that these aftermath segments are very precious to my work. and they are still good sources to have as references, as an anchor for clan battle activities involving TACT or any other group or whatever dealings is going on that I'm a part of. If people want to request that you have these things, I can give you a direct analysis to give you an idea of everything that happened at that time or in that sitting, so there's no question what happened. I make these as unbiased as possible. Ooh, okay, so looking over round one, that was Capture the Flag. That was on tax host UnK's map pick. That was Desolation. That was a rough patch going into the map choice, Desolation. UnK had literally no strategy to the game. They just all rushed the base at once, one attempt after the other, because nobody was ever guarding their base at any one specific time throughout the first half of the game session. Blaze Enzon was able to go in for the flag basically every time. It's just getting back to the base and securing the flag is the hard part, because it's a strategy of using a brain against continual blind aggression, essentially. A rush strategy on our end was not thought of. I have rush strategies on the books, but I never invoked any of them with the current players that were on board for this clan battle on the team, as I didn't believe that all of them are built for all-out rushing tactics where they can survive the initial encounter. So I had improvised defensive-based tactics that have to chime in before we're being overran. And the problem is that we're structurally being overran almost at the start, because they're being completely reckless about any defensive tactic. They're just being all aggressive constantly. In addition, spacing was a key variable to work around here. The spacing out of positions on the map play into momentum very conveniently. It's a positive and a negative for both teams when it comes to a map like Desolation, or probably even Convoy for that matter. Both those maps are pretty big. People's positions can be sprinkled rather suddenly, then get picked off. Regrouping strats are hard on Desolation because you run the risk of making yourself singled out very quickly from odd angles. They got an early point on the board due to that unfortunate downside. Then halfway through the game, they started being slowly more defensive based in order to eat away at time and eat away at our opportunities at being fully offensive ourselves, rather than make another progressive push. And then eventually it just ended up being a subtle stalemate at one round where we were able to hold their flag for a good portion of time until suddenly someone just made a push out of nowhere. The medic made response time, but I think it probably could have been better on my end. I was the medic on that team. Medic on their end was an easy target, but the problem was that brute force was getting through most of our defenses. That battle on Capture the Flag was lost 0-2 in UnK's favor. Next, we move into round 2, which was Conquest. Conquest was on Tax host as well. This one was our pick this time, not UnK's pick. This was our pick this time. And so I had Blaze and Apex and Black Label pick the map accordingly for this, and this was to be a launch. Blaze had edited my Spear version 2 layout for full frontal attack. He had edited it for more of an LSC Nemesis touch. They had generated the momentum right at the start, and so we kept that flow in T.A.C.'s favor. The outside nodes were isolated in successive rotation, leaving the outside, well, middle node underneath of the rocket ship. It leaves the middle node open, highly open, for people to swoop in from the left and then the right, then left to right, right to left. And it was a very solid rhythm of turret placement for a double sentry sweep tactic that can work in select intervals, one for damage, one for slowing. I went on ahead with the slow method. I went for Sentry Scientist 2. Black Label went for Sentry Scientist 1. And so we did a double marking tactic that was able to play into Blaze and Apex's hands to give them the upper hand. And we were allowed a pretty good deal of point control throughout the totality of that portion of the clan battle. The rhythm was nicely done with Label and me doing the double sentry. Guns, Apex, Blaze could be as aggro as it needed to be on select points. It was very nicely implemented, I have to say. I gotta give props to Blaze Enzon on the editing of that plan. That was very nicely executed. And then lastly was round 3 of the clan battle. This was on Team Deathmatch on UnK's host. This was T.A.C.T's map pick. Map pick here, we went back to the basics as Gunners and Blaze went on ahead and suggested for Array to make this as a pretty clear cut. So we just went on ahead back to a traditional map that is usually ideal for Team Deathmatch closure. And it was pretty clear cut, but it became hard entering into the second half of the battle. Guns and Label had a duo strategy to work in each other's strong points, in order to play off of each other's strong points, I should say. My strategy was basically playing to that tactic or playing around it in order to feed into Guns and Labels' positions. I became the medic for that battle as well for the round 3. Marines was in for Blaze at that point, as Blaze had left for IRL. And Apex had dropped out of the match because of something to eat, I suppose. And so this was downgraded to a 4 versus 4. All in all, then, this was fine. We were trailing behind them just briefly, but then they had copied our exact strategy in order to force open choke points, basically, and then single out players before a regroup could or can happen. The regroup being that when or if a team wipe happens, then everybody rendezvous at said spawn location before you go out and try another tactic, or just go out and rush and begin to do things. Here's the problem that I had with Team Deathmatch. The momentum. We had none. We literally had none. We gradually built it up through the match from base. UnK was slowly building theirs faster. Momentum was lost in RN right at the start because of trying to sort out that crap of Apex's affairs that he suddenly brought up, and we didn't act right away on trying to do anything, or I wasn't able to respond or act right away because of this unforeseen scenario. This being that Apex had to leave right away or right just now in order to get something to eat. And our heads were so focused on why does Apex need to leave literally right just now when we need him at a serious point to go eat, and he didn't do it at any other point in time when we had to wait for the clan battle to actually begin. That aspect, as opposed to the where do we need to go immediately once we spawn in aspect, which was a lot more dire to the specific point of this building point, because they don't want to lose and I don't want to lose, but something's going to happen either way. That alone had shifted the CB rhythm, I feel. I don't like that. In Team Deathmatch, acting on a rush, not rushing in doing dumb shit, but on a rush as in like a high, momentum, gaining momentum, acting on momentum, is what helps or contributes to an early lead and overwhelming the enemy as soon as possible. The late momentum build-up allowed us to keep pace with them when UnK holding a close lead, rather than having the initial lead against them and this being completely the other way around and likely T.A.C.T win. It's a very difficult hypothesis. Then come to find out later on after the match that he ordered food and it came exactly at that time, and the guy took a few minutes in order to get up the stairs over to Apex's dorms, and he thought he had time before the food came. I told him that afterwards, had I known that, then I could have honestly tried to work around that. Like, because he didn't say that part of at that time of the CB, he didn't say that he had the food delivered to him. He just said that he needed to get something to eat in itself. So I realized he's at a dorm, yeah, but he should have said something that if he had to order food at that time, or if there was a chance that that pending factor would play into something just as unfortunately timely as it did. But he should have told us, or T.A.C.T anyways, and then I could work something around that. It's not the first time that something unusual happens, like right at those times, and I can try and make something on the fly that can either buy time or can constructively work another person in or out, or if I need to sub out another person, or if I just need it to be a 4 versus 4 anyway, to have it be a predetermined match set instead of it affecting everybody in general, then that can work to the well-being of TAC's continued hold of momentum and or pending the momentum of the enemy team, because they're wanting to try to rush into it really quickly. Considering that this was a factor that came up, I still think that had I been known ahead of time, there's a chance I could have been able to work around that so it would not stall our momentum like it did. And it doesn't compromise anything, it just means that it's just a small miscommunication about timing, or about the timing of events at that time. And that's okay. I mean, mistakes happen. Those things happen. We can get around those next time. But next time I need to know in advance so that way I can try to work around that stuff if something is going to happen or potentially happen at that time. Okay, upon all the overall revision, I believe that should generally bring the conclusion of my synopsis for the UnK versus TACT 2020 Clan Battle to a good wrap-up point right here. I'm good right there. So, for any questions, comments, or concerns, however that may be, you can go ahead and leave them down below in the comments section. I'll read them when I got time. Might see to another clan battle in the future, might not. We'll see where it goes from here. If you need me, y'all know where to reach me. I'll see if I can make myself available. I'll leave my link down below for my official Discord for those that want to keep in contact with me for future relevance. And I'll also have the links for Nova's side or perspective also of the clan battle. That being said, y'all take care. And as always, till all are indeed one.